Did you know that there are only 2 Josephs in the Bible? Just 2. And they are eternally linked by their namesake. When you hear the name Joseph, you should think dreamer. The Joseph of the Old Testament was the son of Jacob, the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob had 2 wives, Leah and Rachel. His family was marked by serious dysfunction. Jacob played favorites, and you can imagine how that went. He loved Rachel most, but Leah gave him many sons. Rachel gave him only one. His name was Joseph. This means Jacob loved Joseph more than all of his other sons, which fueled intense sibling rivalry. You may remember this Joseph by his special coat, despite what Broadway says it was not Technicolor. It didn't help that Joseph was a dreamer. He had grand dreams of his family bowing down to him. These dreams only deepened the sibling rivalry, to the point where his brothers plotted to kill him. But by God's mercy, Joseph wasn't killed. Instead, he was sold to travelers from the east, carrying spices on their way down to Egypt. Joseph's story is full of plot twists and turns, a roller coaster of highs and lows, from the pit to Potiphar's house, to prison, and finally becoming Pharaoh's right-hand man. Joseph's journey was unpredictable, yet one theme runs through it all: his gifts of dreams and dream interpretations. And no matter Joseph's circumstances, God was with him. This special gift from God ultimately placed him in Pharaoh's court, where he was able to save his family during famine. There's another Joseph in the Bible. You know him as Jesus' earthly father, husband of Mary. But did you know he was a dreamer too? The Gospel of Matthew tells us that Joseph has 4 dreams, 1 instructing him to marry Mary, and 3 guiding him and his family to and from Egypt. These connections are not accidental. Matthew wants us to picture Joseph of old when we picture Joseph the new, because Exodus and Jesus are deeply connected. Mm-hmm. Joseph of old and his family spent generations in Egypt. It was because of Joseph and his family that they stayed. The original plan was just to go and buy food and provisions and return home. But Joseph's favored status kept the family living in Egypt, where they stayed and settled for generations. Years pass, the Pharaoh changes. Joseph's high status is forgotten. A new Pharaoh arrives, who's threatened, and instead enslaves the Israelites and orders Hebrew baby boys to be killed. This is where Moses' birth story begins. His mother placed him in a basket to save him from Pharaoh's decree, and he was rescued by Pharaoh's daughter. Joseph set the stage for Moses. And just as there was a Joseph of old and a Joseph of new, there was a Pharaoh of old and a Pharaoh of new, but this Pharaoh's name was Herod. He too ordered the killing of baby boys, and this event sent Joseph, Mary, and Jesus to Egypt, guided by a dream. Joseph's dream saved the future of Israel again, now embodied in Jesus. And just as the Israelites came out of Egypt, led by Moses, so did Joseph and his family. And the analogy leads us to understand that Jesus is the new Moses. All these connections to Genesis and Exodus are intentional by Matthew. He wants us to know that this story is not new. This story happened, and it also happens. It's happening now. The empire's name may change from Egypt to Rome to something new. Empires rise, and the story repeats itself. And empires do what empires do. They grow and they crush. Empires are marked by greed, power, corruption, injustice. They crush the vulnerable and they oppress. But when empires do what empires do, one thing carries us through, and that is a deep-seated hope. Hope that things can change, that the status quo won't remain, that a new day is coming and a change is on its way. Without hope, we cannot persevere. Hope empowered the Israelites, and as Christians, we are rooted in a deep tradition of hope. When the darkness around us closes in and it seems like despair will consume us, we cling to hope. When all we hear is the cries of the oppressed, we must dig deep and find hope. Because there is a truth that we must hold on to. When empires rise, deliverers are born. And just as there were 2 Josephs and 2 Pharaohs, there are also 2 deliverers. God is a God who always hears the cry of the oppressed. His response when empires rise is that deliverers are born. Their names may differ. Maybe their name is Nelson Mandela or Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr. or Malala Yousafzai. There are many more. They may not save in the way that Jesus does, but they are liberators nonetheless. They bring us hope that change may come. The Christmas story is about Jesus, the new deliverer, sent to set his people free. Free from tyranny, free from brokenness, free from bondage and death. Because when empires rise, we know that deliverers are born. And may we have hope this Advent, that the prisoners may go free, that the hungry may be fed, that the unhoused may be housed, that the lonely will find love. We hope for a deliverer. This Advent, what is the empire you face today? Who or what is seeking liberation? And what is the liberation you search for? Who are the oppressed around you? What liberation do they seek? Maybe the next partner God is looking for is you.